Whenever there is a preacher up here, you guys listen, you engage, and you do an absolutely phenomenal job. This is one of you. And this young woman is a preacher. She is called in the ministry. She is called to be a pastor, and I fully support her calling. And I asked her months ago, I want you to preach your message at Momentum for two reasons. One, I'm proud of you. And two, because I want these young women and men of God in here that are your age to see you preaching and see that they can do it too. You are preachers, you are called, you are sanctified, and this is what you can do. So I want to invite to the stage my friend and an absolute inspiration to me, future pastor Sammy Williams. Can you give it up for her right now?
What is up, Momentum 2023? How are we doing today? Good. Hey, dude, I am so pumped to be here. I love seeing this ISM family. Man, can we give 5 seconds of praise for all of the good things God has been doing this weekend? Come on. Man, well, like Chris said, my name is Sammy. So pumped and honored to get to talk with you guys just for a short little 5 minutes. But before we start, raise your hand if you've ever felt like you've disappointed someone. Okay, look around. It's literally everyone. Now, it doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, or where you're going. We've all felt like we disappointed somebody at some point in our lives. And there's a story in the Bible that relates to this. It's about the prodigal son. We're going to dive into Luke 15. And to give some context, this father had given a share of his money to his sons. It says, not long after that, the younger son got together all that he had, and he set off for a distant country where there he squandered his wealth in wild living. So, youth translation. He went out to chase a life all about him and found himself homeless, broke, and literally living with the pigs. He realized that he messed up. And the only thing he can think to do is to go back to his father. But on his way back, something happened. He looked down and he said, I must be such a disappointment. No, I'm a failure. My father would never accept me back. But maybe, just maybe, my father will have just enough grace so I may be a slave on his farm. Fast forward, he returns home, and we see that the father does not neglect or turn away his son, but he has open arms for his lost son returning home. See, I relate to this story. A few years ago, the enemy was feeding me so many lies. He told me that I was worthless, a disappointment, a burden for my friends and family, and I believed all of that. To be honest with you, I was really struggling with self-hatred. And my way of dealing with this left scars all over my body. I remember one night so vividly. I was overwhelmed by just everything going on. These thoughts in my mind that were awful, telling me I'm worthless, a disappointment, to stop trying so hard. And in the midst of all of those thoughts, I heard God speak to me. God said, I'm right here, my child. Come to me. And knowing it was God, I still turned and chose to handle my struggles my own way. And on that path, eventually I came to my lowest point. Time went on and I was still hurting inside, and I realized my only hope was to turn back to God. And when I did, I realized that He loved me like I had never left Him. Our human brains tend to believe that God has left us after so much disappointment or failure. But the truth is that His love and grace are deeper than the ocean. I mean, if you don't believe me, take a look at Saul in Acts 9. Saul was persecuting innocent Christians. You'd think that'd be a pretty big red flag to God, right? But God used Saul the persecutor to become Paul the preacher. See, here's what I've realized. God will never disqualify anyone from his love. Anyone. I mean, if he didn't disqualify Saul, he's not done with you yet either. There is not a distance too far that God will deny you coming home to him. The enemy gets us so wrapped up in our conditions that we forget God's love is unconditional. We often think we got to be perfect before going back to God. Getting all the depression, all the anxiety, all the addiction gone. I'll go back to God whenever I'm happier. I'll go back to God whenever this bad season of my life is gone. When really, all God wants from us is to be right here. Jesus, I need you. I don't want to go any longer without you, God. God, would you help me? Can you imagine the revival in our generation? What mountain in your life could be moved just by saying, Lord, I can't do it on my own. Jesus, I need you. This weekend, I believe God is calling out to every single one of you at this final session of momentum. He's saying, I'm right here, my child. Would you come to me? Would you lay down your burdens at my feet? I've got you. But it's always going to be our choice if we'll finally step into the plan and purpose that he has for us, or if we'll continue deciding for God that we're too broken to be fixed. So would you choose to run to the Father today? Thank you.
She is 17 years old. That means lead pastors in the room who are looking, you got like 6 years. And she will be ready to come and set your church on fire, man. How many of you are that age? You know that you have that in you, right? And if you would just come to Fine Arts and you would just start practicing short sermon, you can develop yourself for the call of God that has been placed on your lives. And I am so absolutely passionate and in love with each and every single one of you in this generation. I just believe that God has got a specific calling for you. And when I see a young woman of God like Sammy come up and just preach a word like that, we can have altar call right now. It motivates me and it gives me hope for you guys. You're out here. You love Jesus and you want to make him known.